one more time before we start. Does anyone have a Halls or a throat lozenge or a Ricola on them?
I have one. You want it?
Yes. If you have 3, I'll take 3. Yes, cough drop or what? This is my Demi Moore voice. She had that husky voice. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll just. Oh, just drop like 3 or 4 of them off, or all of them. Thank you. Sure. Can you OD on these? Is that possible? What do you got? What flavor? What brand do we got? Yeah, drop them. Couple more. You can start recording on the Zoom, by the way. Thank you.
Please and thank you.
Thank you.
Christ.
Thank you. Are you recording? You got the audio going? Okay. All right. I'm sorry, I got to take the lodges. Welcome everyone to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo live edition of the Completely Unnecessary Podcast. 4 minutes ago.
Howdy.
Alongside healthy Ian Ferguson, I'm struggling Pat Contri. You guys having fun so far? Yeah. This is Ian's 5th.
Yeah,
Fifth of it?
5th Portland.
How's it changed in 5 years, Ian?
I have to wear knee brace now.
Really?
That's how Portland has changed for me. I'm getting older, and
It's time to hang them up.
it's time to hang them up.
It's time to go out up into the Portland sunset. Walk away with your pockets full of Game Boy black and white games. Maybe.
Actually, I bought 2 Game Boy Color games so far.
Oh yeah, what'd you buy?
I bought Pokemon the trading card game, and
Someone's like,
I bought Mr. Driller.
oh, Mr. Driller.
Yeah, had to make sure I could drill on the go.
That totally random game that you somehow have an arcade version of in your apartment right now.
Sure do.
How about I start recording on this?
Yeah, do it up.
We're gonna redo the intro.
Let's keep a record of this.
All right, we're recording on that. Again, welcome to the live version of the Completely Unnecessary Podcast at Portland Retro Gaming Expo. That's healthy Ian Ferguson. I'm struggling for life, Pat Contri. Ian's bought a couple of Game Boy black and white games. He's proud of that.
Bonnie bought another arcade board.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna spend like a month waiting on 5 arcade boards. I don't know how that happened.
Okay, all right. All right. As long as you can afford your rent, I guess you can do it. Go for it.
Well, I should say some of them were donated. Like, we just took them from the store, and Craig's like, we'll catch up on that later.
So you didn't buy them then. You're already lying to the audience.
We have accrued.
You've acquired.
This one was purchased.
You're like a museum. Sometimes we're donated. I'm on loan. I have a couple of Game Boy games on loan with Ian right now. From the collection of Pat Contri. And exciting times the past week. Of course, just like a year ago, we discussed the new announcement by Analog literally at Portland last year for the Super NT.
Yeah, for the Mega SG.
Was it Mega SG a year ago?
Mega SG was a year ago.
2 years ago was Super NT.
Correct.
So once a year, they're coming on board. Ian, they just announced the Analog Pockets.
So at the end of, I don't know if they can hear you. I hope they can. I hope they can hear the enthusiasm. So at the end of the last podcast, we mentioned that they were going to be making an announcement about a system on Wednesday, and we were hoping that we would be talking about it this weekend. And I went off, like my brain started spiraling out of control. I started thinking about all the things it could be. And I was like, boy howdy, it would be great if it was a portable system that could do Neo Geo Pocket Color and Game Gear and all those things. And I woke up the next morning and had to go to the bathroom.
Is your brain dialect really say boy howdy to yourself?
I say boy howdy to myself and other people all the time.
You have an old-timey personality, I guess.
Yeah.
Internal narration going on.
Yeah, it's not okay upstairs. So yeah, they announced it, and it's going to be called the Analog Pocket. It's going to be $199. It comes out sometime next year. It's going to do Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance out of the box. And with adapters, it will do Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket Color, and Lynx.
And more, it says.
There's no mention of Wonder Swan, but I'm wondering if that's because they're trying to keep the marketing on brand to stuff that was released in the United States.
Sixes people actually played here, yes.
Because the Wonder Swan never came out here. So with the, they've added a second FPGA port, which will allow third-party development, so hobbyists, whoever wants to, can develop new cores, and then ostensibly, if there was an adapter made for it, I would think it would probably be able to do WonderSwan. Fine, I would hope.
From the magic mind of Kevtris,
So-
programming all these cores, it probably is. So this is a description. A multi-video game system, portable handheld, a digital audio workstation
Yeah,
with
I'll do that in a
a
second.
built-in synthesizer and sequencer, a tribute to portable gaming. Look at that. Look at that, Ian. Completely engineered 2 FPGAs. That's beautiful. And there's a black version and a white version.
Yes. So just like every system they've done so far, well, they did it with the Genesis, and they did it with the. Did they do it with the Super Analog? Was there a packet on that?
Well, the NC had the, which one had the running gun shooter? Was that the Genesis one?
Yes. Anyways, so that was the Genesis one. I'm trying to remember if there was one on the Super Nintendo.
I don't remember. Oh, Turrican 2 was super.
Okay, that's right.
What did the Mega SG have with it?
Hardcore.
That's right, okay.
So they're including something on this one that I think is very unique and very fitting of the system that they're making. So what they're including with the Analog Pocket is a program called NanoLoop. NanoLoop's been around for a long time. It's up there with LSDJ as one of the 2, I would say, main programs people use for composing chiptunes on the Game Boy. I think the Game Boy at this point is a lot of people, or at least I do, associate it with music production. All of the neat mods that have come out recently in the past decade for Game Boys, the backlights, the new shells, the fancy silicon buttons, it's all kind of been based around the people who use these systems for chip tuning. So it's very interesting to see them make that nod and include this on there. So instead of a game, you're getting music production software.
Can you explain real quick, like how would you use that in a setup?
So NanoLoop is it's a sequencer and a synthesizer. So basically, you can go in and you can mess with the waveforms, and then you can place them out like you would on a drum machine. The pictures that they show of it actually kind of do a really good job of explaining how it works. And step by step, it will play the notes that you've placed into. Basically, it's like a piano roll.
It's like a timeline. It's like a timeline you're looking at.
So, anyways, I think they very much understand their market with this. When we talked about it on the podcast, I did mention, I was like, it would be really neat if it was pro sound and all that. And it looks like it's going to have nice audio output, and it's going to cater towards that sort of market. So, yeah, I'm very excited.
Which has helped keep Game Boy alive the past, like, what, say 10, 15 years about, you know,
Yes,
chip
it's not
tuning.
just gaming, it's used as an instrument, and they're making a very obvious nod.
Because the audio chip in the Game Boy is more powerful than the NES one. It's more advanced. You can do a little bit more with it.
Yes.
Yeah, but it still has that old-timey 8-bit, feel to it.
Right, I think it's probably what people would think of most when they think of chip.
Yeah, it's a little more complex. You can do a little bit more with that.
So they've also said that next year they're going to be putting a dock out for it. I'm going to guess the dock is going to be 100, but I have no idea. I'm going to base that on the fact that Nintendo gets 80 for their docks.
For an
Switch,
HDMI out dock.
And it's yeah. So I have a feeling they'll be able to get a $100 price tag on that, which makes it 3.
So we don't know, then there's no direct HDMI out that we know of then with this.
There isn't.
That's a shame.
With the dock and the additional FPGA board that can be worked on.
Yeah, that's a big one to me.
And the size of it, then you start to think about it and it gets exciting because it's like having a flash cart that you don't need a system for. It's small, it's portable, you can put a core for something else on there, and depending on how they do the adapters, or obviously it's going to be jailbroken and people are going to be using ROMs, you can travel this thing around and use it to play just about anything, I think.
So
like
famously,
the opportunities are really very, there's almost no limit to what you can do with it.
So famously, starting with the Mini NT, the Mini NT, like they were quote unquote jailbroken almost officially, unofficially, to let other cores be ported onto it, 8-bit cores. So with this, I mean, Kevtris has like what, 10, 12 cores he's done, going back to like the Intellivision and things like that, and Atari.
Right.
So that's what he was talking about, like bring those cores that exist if they're not they're not more complex, and then you put them on this. Now you have a portable device for multiple systems potentially.
Right. Once that thing can read ROMs, I mean, you could be taking the PC Engine library around with you. You could take the
Oh, Turbo Express.
Turbo Express.
Oh, God.
Oh, there.
Hearts aflutter.
Don't get you sick.
Maybe it's the Halls drops.
You're smelling medicated.
No. Did I get drugged by this random person?
So, I'll be honest, I don't love the look of it.
What don't you like about it?
I prefer the wider hold as opposed to the more narrow design. I think the buttons look a little close together.
I really don't like
action buttons.
I really don't like these corner bottom right menu buttons. That's really bad. If you're holding it, I think you can hit it by accident. They should. Alan's gonna listen to me. They should recess those buttons. So
Right.
Like a reset button on a computer, you have to really dig your finger in to hit it. I think people might hit those buttons by accident.
So as much as this system is kind of like everything I want out of a portable, I don't love the look of it, but really it's not going to matter once it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Are there triggers for Game Boy Advance?
Of course there are.
Where's the picture with them?
They show them. It's where the cartridge goes in.
Oh, is that an HDMI out? There?
No, that's a link cable. It's a link port. There's your triggers.
Oh, I didn't see them. Oh, so they're like kind of at the bottom where the Game Boy card would be. So it's not all the way up. It's like in the middle. That's okay. That works.
Yeah, that's fine.
So kind of like SP-ish in a way.
Yes.
Cool. No, okay. I'm on board. I'm down. If we get a TurboGrafx FPGA core, they throw this on this and have Turbo Express basically in a better way because this is going to be a much cleaner LCD screen. Is it 3.5 inches? Where is it? 3.5, 615 ppi LCD with the 1600 times 1440 resolution. So that'll get you all the systems up to like modern day you can have on there with that resolution in a small size. That's like overkill for an LCD that size. Yeah, that's great. 10 times the resolution of the original Game Boy. Yeah, we can hardly believe it either. Pro level color accuracy, dynamic range, and brightness. That's everything, yeah. The brightness can be like through the roof with the modern LCD on there. It's great.
So the question is, what are we going to be talking about next year? I mean, how many more places can they go?
Turbo and PC Engine. That would be naturally next.
Yeah, Turbo and PC Engine. Sure, you're not wrong.
Well,
That is something they could do.
but if it was too complex for developers back then to do an FPGA, that'll probably take years and years, you know.
So I mean, ideally, I think the one that people would want next would be an N64, but I don't think we'll get that next year.
No, I think you'll stay with the 8-bit stuff first, like Turbo, get that out of the way. Get that whole generation out of the way, then move forward. I'm not sure, what are the adapters on the Mega SG cost? Like $10 each for a SIGADAF system? Is that what they cost?
It comes with it.
It came with it?
Yeah.
Did it come with the card one as well, or is that separate?
That's separate, and I don't think that's been released yet, which
Okay.
is something that's probably worth bringing up. As neat as these adapters are,
the card one?
we have to see them first.
Gotcha.
Without them, you're not doing anything.
And with this, you need them to make three. Game Gear, Pocket Color, and Lynx adapters we need, right? Because the other three can do on its own. Okay, that's, to me, a little problematic just because everyone's gonna want all of them just in case. I mean, to me, I love the Lynx, and that thing is gigantic. It's nice to have a little small Lynx I can play Gauntlet and Caliber games on, or APB. You know, I'm in for a Lynx one for sure. I don't have many NG, Pocket Color, NG PC games to use that with. But I think, what are they, $10 each, the adapters? I think that's reasonable. I wish it would come with one of your choice, maybe, if they get them all done ahead of time, that'd be cool. You know,
I think
just give me
we'll be
one.
waiting to see them.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, that's a big seller to me, is getting the extra systems. I mean, that's great, it's 6 in 1. They said plus more, whatever that is. Yeah, this is exciting. Now you can preserve video game history too. Yeah, 100 years from now, there might just be FPGA systems that still exist that you can play. You know, maybe the hardware and circuitry breaks down on a regular Game Boy, you keep it like in a 60-degree non-humidity room, and it'll still work, like who knows? But that's what they're thinking about too, which is great. So, yeah, I think if they do one a year over the next 10 years and get all these systems going, and who knows how far the technology jumps, or hey, maybe you do a PS1 FPGA at some point, you know, like that'd be interesting. We get to that point, but there's a big jump up between 16-bit and then the leap forward to like 32 and 64. It's like, in terms of the complexity to program the FPGA, as far as I know, I'm not an expert, it's like exponentially harder.
So I don't want to see Pat's mouse.
That's for dropping out my hardwood floor
It's
for our
real
guest
bad.
here. Thanks for
No
mouse.
problem. I'm just upset that this hasn't been fixed.
Thanks for mouse shaming me. How am I gonna fix it? Glue the pieces back
Buy a
on?
new one. That obviously cost $3 10 years ago.
Swap me. No. You see what I gotta put up with? I'm like dying here already. But all right, so is this gonna be? All pre-orders are limited. I think it's limited, right? Limited on here.
I already signed up for the alert.
What's it cost? $199.99.
$199, and then I'm gonna guess $100 for the dock next year.
That's a little. We gotta bring that price down the dock. We gotta try on that because a lot of people would love to play all these games on. Let's put it this way: if you can somehow get a turbo graphics FPG on here and then use this on a TV, that would eliminate the need almost for another, a separate console.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
Right. No, but well, yeah.
Yes.
I guess,
Exactly it.
but I guess you gotta attach a second controller somehow through the console.
It already said the dock will let you do two wired or two.
Where's the dock on this page? I don't see it. Oh, there it is.
It'll let you do two wired
there it is. There's
or
the dock.
two wireless controllers.
Oh, the 8-bit controllers are nice, the Bluetooth ones.
It's like they thought of everything.
They thought of everything. That's not gonna be $100, Ian. It can't be $100 for that.
Watch it.
Wow.
Watch it be 100.
All right, surly Ian. Okay. All right. Well, I guess moving on from there. So the other news, the good old Internet Archive, Ian. Hard at work, archiving our digital lives. They've just added 2,500 more DOS games to their playable database.
What's that take it up to?
I don't know. Let's find out. They had 2,400 from 2015, so I guess that brings closer to 5,000.
So
That's incredible.
That's absurd, but it's great to see it all up there, especially easily accessible in one spot.
And you can play them through whatever the browser. That's great. Because a lot of times, DOS box is hard to configure. So if they pre-configure in the browser for each individual game, that's like most of the work done for you at that point. And the big thing about about DOS games is that some of these are so archaic and weird. Let's go to the actual announcement here. Like some of these you'll never see or heard of again for some of these. Let's see, IBM DOS version of Adventure called Microsoft Adventure. A small rebranding of the original start of the text adventure world, Colossal Cave, or I didn't know there was a version of that. How would you, where would you come across that ever again? Something like that, you know what I mean? Like this is really weird stuff that a lot of this stuff's not gonna be for sale ever again. You're not gonna find it in collections, like official re-releases. So some of this, you have to archive some of this. This isn't like people, selling a bunch of Super Nintendo ROMs and putting it in your Super Nintendo Classic. No, most of those games are readily available. You can find them, you can buy them in some form, you can buy them here. These are games you cannot. Super Munchers, the challenge continues. All right, here you go. 1983, Digger. I played this as a kid on, my dad had the 5 1/4 he'd bring home from work. This is a game that, it's kind of like a Dig Dug Clone, but it's like original. Mm-hmm. And that's a game that I'm sure, who actually heard of this game before with its CGI graphics? 3 people, 4, I'm surprised. But the point is that if you don't archive stuff like this, I'm not even sure I could find this an official version of this.
No, probably not.
I mean, and that's what I mean about DOS games being in their sort of weird space outside of other game collecting and preservation. We were up in the past about the DOS preservation project, trying to archive not just every DOS game, but every DOS utility program and things like that. And they have a list of ones they haven't even found to dump, that they know exist, but they can't find them. So this is fantastic. I mean, I should spend a weekend. I should become a Twitch streamer of these games and do that. That would be fantastic to do that.
So a DOS game, there was one DOS game that for like a month of my life when I was about 6 or 7, I wanted to be a truck driver.
What?
Yeah.
The open road, Ian.
So my dad and I would browse the local BBSs for Games to download, sure. You know, you'd sit there and you'd wait 2 hours to get onto the BBS, and then you would go through the archives and see all the games, and then you would wait, 8 years to download something.
That was like 10 kilobytes.
And there was a game called Big Rigs, and I was like, boy, that sounds good. I don't know why. I was never interested in trucks as a kid, but I wanted to play Big Rigs. So my dad downloaded it, and it took forever. And it was a horrible text adventure trucking game.
Well, that sounds oddly familiar.
But I really, it was one of those things where, you know how, you get something for Christmas, and it might not have been what you wanted, or a gift for your birthday, but you play what you have when you're a kid. So I tried to make the best of this truck driving game, and got really into it. I learned about, retreads, and, the difference between buying some retreaded tires or some fresh tires. Anyway, DOS gaming's really important.
Was it like the text version of the Lemonade game? But for
sort of. It was like,
Big
do you want
Rigs?
to keep driving in a straight line? Yes, let's keep driving. Do you want to keep driving some more? I do want to keep driving some more. Do you want to stop at the rest stop? I prefer to just keep on trucking. So, yeah, it was fantastic. Anyways, I didn't become a truck driver. I'm doing this with you.
Did it include any of the seedy truck stop little adventures?
I'm just here with you.
Okay.
Trucking along.
A little more famously than that is the early Donkey game. So there's a game called Donkey. So on the disc that my dad would pirate, sorry Dad, the FBI's gonna come and get you. It had some of these games on it. It had a Digger. It had a clone of Cubert called Jaybird. And want to hear that one? It literally changed around all the sprites. There's a game called Donkey. It was a basic game. You had to load up basic to play it. So I'm excited because I'm 5 years old. This is Donkey Kong. You load it up. It's a overhead racer game. You have a car. You hit left or right, go back and forth, and the object is not to hit donkeys in the road. You hit a donkey, the donkey explodes. And that was famously coded by Bill Gates, back in 1980 or so. An early DOS thing he coded. That was Donkey.
It's a real bait and switch.
It was a bait and switch when you're 5 and it's free. You gotta learn how to read, how to load up in BASIC, because my dad wasn't gonna do it, it was interesting. So the world of DOS games is incredible. And we're not even getting the CD-ROM era, we're not getting to that weird area in the late 80s, early 90s when consoles didn't come close to the computer in terms of not just how games looked and felt, but the variety of genres they could do. They couldn't do platformers, but they could do adventure games better, do strategy games better, and do simulations better. So there's a lot of jewels out there and gems that you can get lost in it. So yeah, check out the Internet Archive, before someone shuts them down. But I guess no one's going after them for this stuff, because a lot of this stuff is, that weird term abandonware when no one's thought about these games for decades. I should buy the rights to Digger. I think I should do that. Get donkey rights from Bill Gates.
Get donkey rights from Bill Gates sounds extremely shady. That could be any number of things going on.
Donkey rights, that's our code word for that?
Yeah, I got his donkey rights in my back pocket.
Whoa, okay. Make sure it stays there, okay? All right, I guess we'll do a Q&A. We got 15 minutes left, 20 minutes, and my voice is starting to go. So I guess raise your hand, and we'll take your questions. Ian, you want to choose?
I can't see.
You can't see? All right, you start.
Are cell phone games circa 2000, 2009, is that kind of a lost era of gaming, similar to?
So the question is the pre-smartphone era of cell phone games, it's Motorola games, things like that. Flip phone games, is that a lost sort of time for those games?
So actually it's funny because I always wondered about that, and then I saw, I think it was maybe not even a month ago, video game preservation superhero, Frank Cifaldi I believe they were pulling a bunch of cell phone games, I think off of actual
They're just pulling it off the boards?
cell phones, I believe. It was something along those lines. Basically, a bunch of those games were finally starting to be preserved. I used to go and look, and I never saw much.
What were they, Minesweeper type of games, stuff like that?
So I'm getting to that. What the development platform is called, it's J2ME, it's Java. It's Java Micro Edition. And there are emulators out there, but I've never seen a bunch of stuff out there dumped, so I think it's finally starting to happen. It's not like Minesweeper, it's the slightly It's like the slightly more advanced. Like they're not really reading multiple button inputs, but they look nicer. They were the early flip screen games.
Like a battleship type of game, maybe, or a board game.
I mean, they did platformers and
Oh,
fighters,
they did?
and they were all awful. But yeah, I mean,
Okay.
they exist out there.
You had to sell your Motorola phone in 2002 somehow, I guess.
So, yeah, because I remember I used to play, like, the home run derby games and stuff on there. And I would like to be able to go back and visit some of those, because what they tried to do with those resources that they had available to them, there's a lot of really nice looking stuff that came out of that era. It all just plays, like, miserably. Look up the stuff that I believe it was Game Loft used to do.
Game Loft.
For the platforms. There was like they had like a Castlevania ripoff that looked gorgeous. They did a Sonic the Hedgehog game that looked really good. And it all runs on the J2ME, the Java Micro.
And that question was from the CU podcast GOAT.
Yes, that's Chris right there. Hi, Chris.
That ass is my boss. Give it up for that
Hi.
ass. All right, next question. Everyone in the front row, okay. Go down the line, I guess.
If you could each force the other to play a game for 8 hours, what would it be?
Jesus.
You can force the other to play a game for 8 hours. Maybe positive for a nice experience, not necessarily for torture. Yeah, donkey for 8 hours.
Anything that's come out in the past 6 years. I'm pretty sure LA Noir's older than that now.
Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Ian, come on, you're killing me here.
I mean,
The Capcom collection of fighters.
Breath of the Wild.
Make me finish it. Okay, then
Sit down and play through a game.
say goodbye to Pat doing anything else ever again, I guess, at that point. No more future books, no more
Pat could do
podcasts.
40 hours.
40 hours?
I mean, it's a lot more.
I got to the Aqua Town, I think that's where I left off. Like the third or fourth town.
I haven't played it.
You haven't played it?
No,
Wow.
I've watched Bonnie play 450 hours.
Okay.
I don't need to ever play Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Not once, not ever.
I'll get a Let's Watch with Bonnie. Okay. And then for you, yeah, Donkey, I guess, for 8 hours. Just the soiree of basic and DOS games that I had to play with before I got the NES, because I didn't have a console until Christmas '87. So it was like a good 2-3 years where it was either the Coleco Telstar Ranger Pong clone or whatever basic ass DOS games that I had. That's it. So maybe the football game where it was literally you see no, not that.
All right, go.
Choose a play: short run, long run, short pass, long pass. I guess the computer rolls the dice and you see how many yards you gained, or a fumble, or a touchdown, and save for defense. You just see where the play ended up. Like literally, a football will just move after the play. Stuff like that would be fun. Next question down the line. Yes. What video game item would you use? Item you would use, not eat, in your everyday life, Ian.
When you eat food, you have used that
Oh my
food.
God.
I'm going to use one food.
Well, which one would that be? I guess. Which item would you use to eat, or eat to use? One.
I've always been curious about those mushrooms.
How about something you actually haven't done in real life, though?
I've never done a mushroom that's, the size of my body.
Okay. Like, that'd be interesting. What's an item I would use every day? Oh man, is there any like game that has like a mind control item? That'd be fun. Is there any one of those in any game you know of?
I don't know. If only you could ask someone who's played video games. you have a history with video games.
Yeah, but that's an item that would. Okay, that's just a power trip in my head. I guess I'm going over right now with that.
Yes.
I'm not good with the item questions. I don't know. A tanuki, grow a tail and hit people in the face with it, turn into a weird stone creature. I don't know.
I use the frog suit and just walk around in everyday public life.
I just freak people out.
Freak people the fuck out.
You're like, hi.
Why is he moving so dodgily?
Dodgily.
I can't control the suit.
All right, down the line. Yeah.
Shout out to Frank, the internet misses you.
Shout out to Frank. My Frank.
Yeah, you're Frank. No, there's some random Frank.
Well,
That's various.
there's different Franks. There's at least 2 Franks.
So, over the years, you guys did
I think a lot of people online would say it doesn't affect how we answer questions enough. I think a lot of people would prefer that we definitely did answer questions differently than we do. No, I think the instant, the instant feedback, the instant response, the instant criticism. Honestly, it stopped. Didn't change anything, but it did stop me, I think, from approaching it further. If I hadn't done the podcast, maybe I would have tried doing videos earlier, but my experience with the podcast just kind of made me, I don't know, stay on the outer edges of YouTube and video game stuff and podcasts.
Because of the toxic comments?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So it didn't change anything, but it did keep me from maybe trying to do more than I did.
It's a double-edged sword, right? Because if we muted ourselves, no one would care, especially early on. Nowadays, it's not about personality on YouTube. It hasn't been. Now it's all about, talk about, Brie Larson, because 8 other angry people are talking about Brie Larson and people watch your video. It's no longer about, being engaging because you're actually a personality that people want to hear about. It's all about, well, I have my opinion made up in my mind already. Let's watch 10 videos of people that have the same idea that I do, so I can be angry all day. That's really what it is. I hate to say it. So for this, you can't dislike us if you really like us, being colorful with our language or attacking BS like the Calico Chameleon or soon-to-be flops like the Amico. You can't. So you can't like us for that, but then dislike us if we're colorful about something you may disagree with, like a mobile version of a game, a PC game, for example. Like
a mobile version of what game?
A mobile version of a PC game.
Oh, sure.
So like
this is a pizza game. I'm like,
pizza. Yes, Ian. Yes, it's an item game. It's an item. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so that's what I mean. You come for us. This is what we're selling. Don't be mad if this is what you get. I mean, and that's why it's always funny seeing, the people attack us. Well, they have an agenda. They get their views off of it and whatever. They have their incel crowds that they market to or whatever. But you come to us. Don't be surprised at what you get. Does that make sense? We try to keep it real. We're not going to be like, oh, Ian. We never say like, Ian, we shouldn't talk about. We should change our opinion of this so we get more views on this.
You ordered your wings spicy. You're getting spicy wings.
Yeah. You're getting those overrated buffalo wings spicy. All right. A question in the back, the green jacket.
As a fellow transplant from the East Coast, what food do you miss from the East Coast?
What do you miss from the East Coast?
Bagels every fucking morning. I want a bagel that doesn't suck, and they all suck. Every single one is miserable. It's an exercise in misery. It is not a bagel. It is a round of despair. I hate them. It's awful. How do you do it? How do you screw up a bagel? Sorry. I had that answer way too quick. I'm sorry.
So anyway, it is true about East Coast pizza being superior in the tri-state area. That's not a joke. And the only people that think it's BS have never had pizza from New York, New Jersey. Like that's the truth.
Vanya was quickly swayed.
Yeah, we have the Long Island.
No, I just mean the first time she was back in Buffalo, like 10 years ago. She had been listening to me for like 2 years at this point. Tell her that pizza in San Diego is bad and that wings, they're awful. And she kept being like, no, you're just being one of those people. And we went back and she's like, no, you're right. There's something to this.
Yeah, the pizza's it's different ingredients. That's the bottom line. Different water, different cheese, different sauce, different dough. It's just different entirely. So that's what I miss. And no pork roll, of course. Yes, sir.
Yeah, have you ever played a game and been so angry with it that you broke the controller or console? And what was the game?
My dad used to throw my NES controllers. I beat him in double dribble back when I was like 7 or 8. Shut up! And throw it. Yeah.
I don't know that there really is. Even early on when a game would make me angry, I'd be like, wait a second, this is supposed to be fun. I'm not having any fun, so I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna turn it off. The closest I've gotten though is when I do play fighting games, and I play through like the arcade mode to do any unlockables or anything like, say, like PlayStation 1 era. They don't put unlockables in games these days. The final bosses of like any fighting game, especially SNK final bosses, like just frustrate me to the point where I'm like, I am in my 30s and I should not be this close to crying over a video game, so I'm gonna stop. So for the most part, I don't play games that would make me feel that way, but yeah, the final bosses in SNK fighting games come pretty close to controller breaking territory.
Never broke a controller, but I tore a tricep muscle.
What?
It was college.
Okay.
It was very important. It was Worms Armageddon ranked match.
Oh, that's a good game.
And I got mad. I went son of a, and thought I was elbowing it like that. And to this day, it's not right.
What did you hit? What did you hit?
It was like just a wooden desk. I went like that, and immediately it was like, oh.
I smashed my face on the microphone.
Oh, okay. It's not an ice cream cone. It's not food. So that's still today. Like every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I can feel where the tear was from that. I was an angry 19-year-old, I guess, doing that. Yes.
Do you think PS3s and 360s are still going to work like 20, 30 years from now?
No. Okay.
No.
Because the disk drives alone or anything else?
No, just the general build quality.
The quality's
I'm
good.
kind of joking, but I mean, I don't think any first model 360s will be in good working order.
FPGA that. Get on it, Ketris.
First model PS3s were built a little bit better, but I mean, we're talking. I mean, even if they were built 2 to 3 times as good as the original model 360s they were spending, that means they were still built like crap. The slimline 360s and the slim and super slim PS3s, at least from where I can sit and look at them, don't seem to have like a very high failure rate. Now they haven't been out as long. They had a chance to go in and fix the problems when they did those versions. So I think those will still be working for a while. But all of these modern systems, I'm going to guess, have a short shelf life in the long term because they generate so much heat. I mean, they're under so much stress when they're operating. So I think that's going to definitely lead to a shortage in the future.
There's a question over here, I believe. Yes.
How do you stay interested in, I guess, producing content at the end of the day? You've been doing it for so long, and I don't want to say burnout's real, but you see it on TV shows, you know, they keep making content, and then you look at the show and you're like, it should have ended a while ago.
Well, that's the interesting thing. So,
is he going to end us right now? Are we canceled now?
well, I
No
think.
more seasons.
How do you stay interested, though? How do you stay engaged with it on an active basis? Because after doing it for so many years, obviously it loses some of its spice. But how does this also goes to Ian as well. I mean, obviously you did the podcast with him.
This is the last podcast. This is it. And you're
Different
right.
positions. That's how you keep it spicy.
I wish you were thinking of food again.
So when you're
I-
talking about mind control, you were referring to me. You wish you could control where my mind could go.
Now for sure. Maybe not before. What's interesting about audiences is that TV and movie audiences are more mature in general than online audiences. And because it's not just like they expect people to not just do the same content, but do it at a regular speed, but doing it with 1/1000th of a budget of a TV show, or 1/1,000,000th of a budget of a professional movie. So they want to be entertained the same way, but from like a 1 or 2 person operation. They want it now. They always will want it. And that's why I marvel at the fact that James still puts out AVGN videos regularly, but he has a crew that helps him do it. It's not a secret now. He has people that write for him, edit, direct. So without that, James would have been burnt out. I think the episode 100 was originally going to be the last of that. But the expectation of an internet show is to go on forever. But TV shows, it's rare for a TV show to get through 5 seasons, let alone 10. And so you have internet shows that still exist that do it weekly somehow, and people are burnt out. Doug Walker tried to get away from Nostalgia Critic, and everything else failed. He's still doing 1 a week Nostalgia Critic for like 11 fucking years, whatever, or 12 years. Gerard's doing the Completionist now for like 8 years, 1 a week, hundreds of episodes. If that was a TV show, that'd be insane. It's like The Simpsons, but 400 episodes takes like 30 years.
Bonanza.
You know, Bonanza.
Bonanza.
So
Wait, Bonanza or Gunsmoke that went on for ever?
Gunsmoke.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's what I mean about it, different expectations. But yeah, people either get tired of doing the same thing, audiences leave, or people get burnt out doing it, or a combination. At least the podcast, we talk about things that's not as hard to get through, you know. So, except when I was doing it by myself for 5 months, that was tough.
You should interview yourself that.
What's that?
You should interview yourself with that.
I should interview myself? That sounds egomaniacal, but I guess I pull it off. One more question.
That's some super villain level crazy.
Yeah. One more good question. You got a little kid? Okay.
What up?
How much time would you say you poured into the truck game?
How much time went into the truck game?
A lot of time. Like, I remember it very, very clearly. I remember the ASCII title screen saying Big Rig. It was all something that I played way too much of. I would say that I probably played, okay, you want an estimate? Let me try to be realistic here. I probably played at least 25 hours of this awful game. I mean, it was genuinely
But that's all we
bad.
had, but we liked it.
But we liked it. The
all we
text
had.
telling us that I was driving down a straight freeway.
Back in our day,
Endlessly.
we didn't have pictures in games and moving images.
Oh, by the way, I was trying to deliver oranges. I think you choose your cargo, and that was your difficulty mode. But I wasn't interested in the other cargo, so I chose oranges. But I think the oranges were the
And
targets.
once you get this first video review out, eventually, that's your second review, Big Rigs,
Big Rigs.
on the DOS.
Yes, Big Rigs on DOS.
1982. All right, everyone, thanks for coming out to this live CU podcast. We're at booth 155. 155, right in the middle of it.